everyone, I'm Lauren McBride and welcome to my prep workshop. In this workshop, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know of how to prep your client's nails to get the best out of your gel polish or your acrylic application service. I hope you enjoy it, so let's get started. So, prep for nails. Now, it's really important to prep your client's nails correctly for any following nail service, because if you don't get the prep correct, you're going to have issues with applying your gel polish or your acrylic enhancement, and also the longevity of that nail service that you've done. Now, I just need to address a situation. We are currently in lockdown due to COVID-19. So I've been very limited to the client choice that I can have to do this workshop, but I really needed to get the workshop done. So my model client today is my husband. So I do apologise. You can probably tell this is a man's fingers, but it was either Stu or my 2-year-old, and he was the better option out of the two. So I just needed to address that situation. So right, on with the workshop. So this stage is really, really important, like I've just said, and a lot of techs skip over this stage and don't understand the importance of it, and then wonder why they have problems with their application of the following service. So while you are having your consultation with your client, you are looking at their nails and you're evaluating them. So the whole time that they're chatting away to you about their lifestyle and one thing and another, you need to assess the client's nails. Now, obviously, my client today has never had an enhancement and has never had any sort of nail service done whatsoever. So their nails are really healthy, really shiny naturally. And you can see the shine on there, and you can see that would tell you as a nail tech that these nails hold a lot of oil and moisture. So you would be looking at their nails and evaluating that situation, and you need to address that in the correct manner in order to do your nail service. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I am going to go in with my cuticle pusher. Now, my cuticle pusher is a dual tool. So I have got a pointy end here, and I've also got the cuticle pusher here. Now, it's a curved cuticle pusher, you can see there, and it's also metal. So metal tools are great because you can sterilize them after every single client, and you can keep them nice and clean. Now, also a little tip for you is, if this edge of your cuticle pusher starts to dull over time, you can get a nail file, and you just get an old nail file, and you can rub it along the surface of your nail file, and you can sharpen up that edge, and it will bring your cuticle pusher back. Obviously, you don't want it too sharp, but you do want that edge to be nice and crisp in order to push those cuticles back effectively. Okay, so what a lot of nail techs tend to do, which is an incorrect way of pushing back a cuticle, is they go in the middle. Okay, now the angle of your cuticle pusher is also really important. So I'm just going to turn the nail to the side so you can see the angle. So I am going in at a 45-degree angle. You don't want to go in too flat, because if I was to do that, I would be pushing into the living tissue, and that would damage the living tissue surrounding the nail. And you don't want to go in too straight, because that's going to damage the nail plate. So by going in at a 45-degree angle, you are lifting away any of the dead skin and the cuticle that you need to at the correct angle to the nail plate and the living tissue. What a lot of nail techs tend to do as well is they go into the middle straight away. Now, that is incorrect, because you can have cuticle come up through the side walls on both sides. So if you were to go into the middle straight away, you're trying to not only separate that cuticle from the nail plate, but you're also separating it from any cuticle, as you can see here, that is coming up the side walls, which is going to make it more difficult. So when you're removing cuticle, you hold the client's finger nice and firmly. You're not squeezing it, but you're being nice and firm, and you are pulling down with your thumb and your finger the side walls. So you can see, if I put that back to its natural state, you want to get in down into this side wall, into this crease of the nail. So to do that effectively without causing any damage, you pull down with your thumb and you pull down with your finger, and that is how you are holding your client's finger when you're doing your cuticle work. And then going in at a 45-degree angle, you start at the top of the nail, at the top of that side wall of the nail, and you just gently push away any of the dead skin and cuticle that is down that side wall. Okay? You then follow that all the way around the cuticle line and back up the other side wall. So you just gently push back. We're not going in too deep. You don't want to cause concertina. Can you see here in this area? It's really, really precious, this area, because that is where all the nail cells are ready to come out and make the nail plate. The last thing you want to do is to concertina. Can you see there that that's happening? And I'm pushing really gently. People tend to go in too hard, and that's what causes damage to all the nail cells that are within this area here that are waiting to come out for a fresh nail plate. So just following it round really gently, still pulling down those side walls so you can get in, and taking it back up the other side. If you've got a piece here like that was quite far up the nail plate, just go back in onto that and just tease it up off of the nail plate. Now this is why I love this tool, because you've got this pointy end on top of the cuticle pusher itself. So what you need to do with that, again, pulling down your side walls, is just gently go in. Now I'm keeping this edge, okay, flush with the nail, so it's supporting it and you're not going to slip. And I'm just going in and removing all of that cuticle dead surface debris off of that nail plate really gently. You can see the nail's not turning white. I'm not pushing too hard into the cuticle, and follow that round all the way, and then come back down, and you're almost lifting it out. So I'm using like a swirling motion. So I'm going in, up and out, in, up and out. Okay. I'm pulling out all of that tissue. Now, when I do prep on nails, I always do it dry. The reason for that is because the second you add any water or moisture into the nail plate, it will swell. So when it swells, if you swell out that nail plate and then you put your gel polish on top, the nail is going to release that moisture and go back into its natural shape, and then you're going to create movement between your nail plate and the gel polish, which isn't what you want to do. So that's why I do all my cuticle work dry. There's no problems with using a cuticle remover or anything like that, because they tend to be quite thick, but I personally don't tend to add anything on top of the nail that I don't need to. So that is the cuticle all pushed back, all of the loose dead skin cells removed off of the nail plate. Now, I tend to go in with cuticle nippers. You can have cuticle scissors. It's entirely up to you what you use and what you feel most comfortable in using. So you only remove dead tissue. So for example, anything that's pink and squidgy, you need to leave on the nail plate. Anything that's white, you need to get rid of. So I'm just going to go in here and remove really carefully, just using the points of my cuticle nippers, anything that shouldn't be there. Now what a lot of people tend to do is they get hold of it and almost use it like a tweezer. So they'll get hold of it and then pull it. You don't want to do that, because that's obviously going to cause trauma to the nail, and then it's going to bleed, and then you've got a whole host of other problems. Now if you do nip your client, which obviously is the last thing that you want to do, but if you do, then you need to sterilize your tools straight away. You need to put a little bit of your alcohol wipe off solution onto a lint-free pad and hold it. So for example, if I just nipped Stuart here, I would push that and I would apply pressure. By applying pressure, you're cleaning it with the alcohol, so it is going to sting, so you need to warn them of that, but then apply pressure and it will stop the bleeding, okay? But hopefully you won't do that. So I'm just going to work my way around. So there's a little bit there that needs taking off. Again, pulling back the side walls, pulling back your the skin that's nice and healthy that we don't want to touch, and getting rid of anything that shouldn't be there. So that is your cuticle work. Now what you want to do, I'm just going to tidy up this free edge. So I'm just using you can use a 180 or a 240 grit nail file, and I'm just going to tidy up that edge. Now this motion people say you shouldn't do. I do it because it's a 240 or a 180 grit, so you're not going to cause damage, and I'm being really gentle in filing that natural nail. Okay, I'm just going to dust that off with my dusting brush, and that is the free edge done. Now if I was going to apply gel polish or an acrylic enhancement to this, you need to remove that surface shine, because this shine is oil. If I was to apply a gel polish or an acrylic enhancement on top of that, it's not going to adhere to the nail plate correctly. You're going to get lifting, you're going to get separation, and it's just not going to last your client the full service time. So obviously being very aware that I've just done the cuticles, so they are sensitized now. Again, I'm using my thumb and my finger, pulling back the side walls, being firm, and I'm starting this side, just rocking it round over up until that cuticle point in a really gentle motion. We don't want to file into the nail. We want to just take that surface shine off. So I've gone, as you can see, all the way around that side wall, down around the cuticle and up the other side of the side wall. I'm now going to come over the top of the nail. Again, being really gentle, up to the free edge, and then back down the other side wall. Now, if your clients have got really oily nails, this step is really important. But if they're overly oily, by the time you've done this and done the other 9 fingers, you could very well come back to this nail and it will be shiny again. So what we need to do is get a lint-free pad and some gel wipe-off solution and just go over that nail and remove any surface debris, any dust, anything like that. Now what a lot of people tend to do as a nail tech, you do this sort of motion. and then you pull back this way. You don't want to do that. You've just pushed those cuticles back. You need them to stay back. You need them to stay where they were. So if you use your thumb, if you pull back your side walls like you have been, and you push the cuticle that way, you're pushing it back the whole time you're wiping off that nail, because that cuticle naturally is going to want to ping back this way. You don't want that to happen. So you're pushing it back the whole time, and then you can wipe off your free edge and clean that up. Now that is to remove the surface shine and any dust and debris that's on there. Now before, personally, what I would do that to all 10 nails. I would then, just before I polish, do one hand. I would get some acetone on a lint-free pad. It's really important to use a lint-free pad and not a cotton pad, because we don't want fluff being entered into the scenario and the situation. I would then get some acetone and I would do exactly the same. Again, pushing that cuticle back and away from you so that it doesn't retract back to where we've just got rid of it. And that nail is now ready for either a gel polish application or an acrylic enhancement. So that completes my workshop on how to effectively prep a nail before any nail service. I hope you've all enjoyed it, and I hope you've all learned something. If you would like any more details or have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to PM me. If you're on my YouTube channel, please make sure you like, subscribe and click the notification bell so that you will be notified of any further workshops that will be going up on this channel. And like I say, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just contact me. It's not a problem. I'll see you all soon. Bye.